What is up, guys? James here from the Light of Riga YouTube channel, and in this video we're going to be doing a pick a card reading for the Mercury Retrograde. I did this reading for myself and I got a lot out of it. It was a quick, simple reading, but it was very beneficial for me, so I wanted to share it with you guys. And what this reading is designed to do is take a look at the energy surrounding us during this Mercury Retrograde and help us to figure out how we can best proceed, how we can make the most of this period of time. The Mercury Retrograde lasts from February 16th through March 9th. And, some people put a lot of stock into it. Some people don't. I'm kind of in the middle. I definitely feel a difference when Mercury goes retrograde, but it's not drastic for me. Small things occur, so it's like communication breakdowns. That's usually the main thing, is communication breakdowns. But also some, maybe what people might consider lower vibe energies and electronics doing weird stuff. And, whatever it means for you, it's fine. If you don't take stock in Mercury retrograde, look at this reading as what you can do in the next 3 weeks to make this the best period possible for yourself. So we're going to do the standard pick a card reading. I'm using 3 decks today. We've got the Universal Celtic Tarot, we've got the Zombie Tarot, and we've got the Crystal Reading cards. Those are what those are. And we've got 3 crystals here for you to choose from. We've got a Tibetan Enhydro Quartz here. We've got a Smoky Citrine from Zambia. And we've got a Brandberg Amethyst Enhydro. Very high-end, top quality, expensive crystals for you to look at and choose from. So what I'd like you to do at this moment is to maybe take a deep breath or two, kind of tune into these crystals, and whichever crystal sticks out for you, choose that pile. And then there's going to be a link in the description. Not a link. There's going to be little timestamps in the description so that you can go right to your reading. Okay, so take some time to choose your crystal and we'll get into it. Alright, this reading is for those of you who chose the Tibetan Enhydro Quartz. This crystal is extremely high vibrational, right? The Tibetan quartz are already high vibrational. They're found high in the Himalayan mountains. And, I look at the mountains as sort of antennas for cosmic energy. They're the first one to receive the highest energy because they're like antennas for the earth. And as a result, I believe that the crystals in that location have a very high vibration as well. And this one has some water trapped in it. I don't know if I can... I have to turn it at a certain angle for the water to move, but it's right there. I don't know if you can see that on camera or not. There you go. Anyway, there's a moving Enhydro bubble. You know what that's about, right? So this is for you if you chose that crystal. And the first card we're going to look at is this one. And it represents what you should focus on during this Mercury retrograde. We got the 5 of Swords. Give me a moment with this one. Let me get on this camera here. So the message I'm getting from this card is that during this retrograde, for you, it's going to be important for you to take a look at your relationships and how you've been sabotaging them. How you've been... when we look at the 5 of Swords, we see 2 people here who are ready to do battle. And this battle is a result of unchecked ego, right? And we've all kind of allowed our egos to infiltrate our relationships to some degree, and usually this causes friction, this causes fighting, this causes drama. And I think what this retrograde period is going to be useful for you to do is to really examine those relationships and examine your side of the street. How have you added or encouraged or bred a situation where there's drama, where there's friction, where there's fighting in your personal relationships? This retrograde is a time for you to take responsibility for your part of it, right? Whenever there's an argument, let's say, it's always 50% your fault. Always. No matter what, 50% your fault. Even if that person is being absolutely ludicrous, if they're saying things that don't make any sense and they infuriate you, right? You still got infuriated. You chose to strike back. You chose to allow that person to get under your skin. It's 50% your fault. And I think this retrograde period is a time for you to kind of reflect on your side of the street and see how you can improve your relationships by lessening the amount of ego that you interject into them. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's move on to this card, which represents what you should avoid this Mercury retrograde period. What we should move away from. And you've got the Two of Coins, or Two of Pentacles. Give me a moment with this one. To me, this card is about exerting your will when clearly it's not doing anything. Okay, that's kind of the message. The feeling I'm getting from this card is this zombie is trying to make progress. He's trying to go after the thing he wants, which is brains, right? But he's in water, and the water's holding him back, and it's slowing him down, and he's exerting more energy than what he's getting from it. You know what I'm saying? He's putting out a lot of energy, but he's not seeing a lot of results. And I think that's something to avoid this retrograde period, is putting your energy into things that aren't getting results. Right? We're already in a cosmic time where the energies are not conducive to making big forward strides. Generally speaking, that might not be necessarily true for you, but so why make it even harder on yourself by doing things that aren't a good use of your energy? So try to figure out where you're placing your energy and where you can better place your energy so that you're not wasting any. Right? Don't be like this zombie. Don't go searching for brains in the ocean. Okay. Number one, there's not a lot of food out there. Okay, unless you're gonna eat zombie fish or whatever he eats. And number two, the water's working against him. So get out of the ocean and find a place where there's more brains and less restrictions. All right, this last card represents what crystal or healing energy you can work with. If you don't have this crystal, or if you don't work with crystals at all, this is like what healing energy we can work with. We've got clear quartz, purification. Give me a moment here. To me, this is about getting back to your center, getting back to your baseline. We go through life and we're constantly taking on negative energy from other people, from ourselves, from all sorts of different places. And I think this retrograde period is a time for you to get back to your middle of the road line, where your true, your higher self, your authentic self that's unmuddled by all these outside influences. And clear quartz to me is about that. It's about getting back to your I'm struggling to find the word, okay? But it's about getting back to where you're supposed to be, without all this distraction and harm, and you know what I'm trying to say. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Here's clear quartz right here. I'm holding one. You can look; they look pretty similar. But yeah, so if you have clear quartz, you can use it this next 3 weeks. You can program it to help you to get back to your center, help you shed some negative energy. It seems like there's a lot here, and you get out of your own way is kind of the feeling I'm getting from this, right? You choose to go in the ocean sometimes, right, when it's not conducive to what you're trying to do. You choose to get in these ego battles sometimes when it's not benefiting anyone. So clear quartz can help you with that. All right, does that make sense? If you have any questions, put it in the comment section. I want to thank you for watching, and I'm going to move on to the next crystal. All right, this reading is for those of you who chose Natural Citrine. This one's a little smoky. It's from Zambia, like I was saying, and it's just gorgeous, right? I mean, what can I say? Citrine is a crystal of manifestation. It's a crystal of happiness. It's a solar plexus chakra stone, and it really stimulates the willpower, right? If you feel kind of lazy or you feel lackadaisical, this is a great crystal to work with because it'll get you motivated, and it's great for bringing manifestations of abundance in. So if you're feeling kind of like you need a financial boost, citrine's a great crystal to work with. So this reading is for those of you who chose this crystal. And the first card we're going to look at is this one, and it represents what you should focus on during this retrograde period. And we've got the Hanged Man. Give me a moment with this card. All right, to me, the Hanged Man is Okay, let's put it this way. Our society is set up to go fast, right? Fast paced. Let's go, go, go. We got to get it done. There's only 5 business days in the week. We only have 8 working hours. We got to get it done, right? No holidays for us, no resting for us. Go, go, go. Wake up at 7 a.m., come home at 6 p.m., start over the next day, get it done. Right? But that's not what humans were meant to be doing. Right? That's like the opposite. Humans need a time of rest. We need a time of reflection. We need time to recharge. We can't be keeping that up constantly, or else we're going to crash. And I think this retrograde period for a lot of you is about slowing things down a bit, resting, and really getting back into contact with what your heart is saying to you. Right? If we're constantly on the go, on the move, then we can't listen to our hearts as well, because there's so many distractions, so many things happening. Our focus is taken away. But if we can slow down, take a rest, and really focus on what our heart is saying rather than our brains, if we can listen to the emotions rather than the ego, and the intuition, then I said that wrong. I mean, if we can listen to our heart, our emotion, intuition, I see all those things connected, instead of our brain, our ego mind, then you're going to really get back to your roots here. And I think you're going to get back on track. So for me, the message I'm getting here is that this retrograde period is for a time for you to rest and reevaluate and come back to the heart space a little bit. This card here represents what to avoid this retrograde period, what you should be not doing. And we've got the King of Swords. Give me a moment with this card. I see the juxtaposition here. This guy is upside down and earth-based. This guy is right side up and ego-based. And the feeling I'm getting from this card is you need to let go of the idea, of the energy, of the mentality that you got it all figured out. Because guess what? I'm sorry to burst your bubble, you don't. Okay? None of us have it all figured out. And the ego mind will often tell us that we do have it all figured out. And that's self-sabotaging, because that closes the door to new information. Right? If you think you've figured something out, you're not going to easily take on new contradictory information, because it'll kind of be proof that you don't know everything, and your ego mind wants you to think it knows everything. So if proof is coming that you don't know everything, your ego mind will do everything in its power to shut it down, shut it off, restrict you from that knowledge. So I think this retrograde period is a time for you to release the idea that you got it figured out, and that's going to allow new information to come in. And I think it's very important for all of us, but especially for you guys during these next 3 weeks, when our communications are strained, when information coming in seems confusing. I think it's very important that you're completely clear and open this retrograde period. Okay, so let's move on to this card, which represents what crystal or healing energy you should be working with this month. If you don't have this crystal, or if you don't work with crystals, this is more about what you can focus on to heal. And we've got Baji stones, balance. Interesting. So Baji stones, I don't work with them personally, but I do know a little bit about them, and they are about balance. They are about balancing your masculine and your feminine energies. These stones are actually found together usually. One's got a masculine type energy, and one's got a feminine type energy. And when these stones are together, they create a balanced energy. And I think that's really what we're seeing here. Look at this. We got the light, emotion, intuition side, and we've got the dark, ego, mind side. And I'm not trying to say that this is negative. I'm saying this needs to be balanced. We need to have an equal balance of both of these. And I think that's kind of what you need to be working on during this Mercury retrograde, is balancing these things out, not letting one take over the other. And so this is going to be about following your intuition, but still listening to the ego. Or following your ego, but still listening to the intuition, to the emotions. So whichever more dominant you are, right, bring the other one into balance. I think it's something to focus on this retrograde season. And Baji stones, you don't see them too often. So I don't know how many of you have them, but what could be an alternate crystal to work with? Ametrine is really about balance as well. If you've got any ametrine, that's kind of rare as well, but you get the idea. Okay, so I want to thank you guys for watching. I hope this reading helped you out in some way, and leave a like if you did get something out of it, and I'm going to move on to the next reading. All right, this reading is for those of you who chose the Brandberg Amethyst Enhydro, and you know what? I don't blame you. Okay, this crystal is crazy. Look at this. Look at the color. Brandberg is a location in Africa where some of the top amethysts are found, maybe the top as far as quality. Maybe not energetically, but quality. I mean, energetically, they're crazy too. This one has an Enhydro. It's going to be hard for me to capture it on camera because it has to be vertical like this for me to show the Enhydro moving. But at least you can see it in there. Oh, there it is. It's moving. Can you see it? Right there. It moves. It actually has a wide range of motion. It has to be like this to really move like that. It can't be like that as much, but I got it to move. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Let's talk about this reading. And the first card we're going to look at is this one, and it represents what you guys need to focus on during this retrograde period. We've got the Queen of Cups. Give me a moment with this card. To me, this card is saying listening to your heart, listening to your emotions, listening to your higher guidance, all those things. And I get the feeling from this card that maybe a lot of you don't do that enough. And that's something to really focus on during this retrograde period when, information coming in is a little cloudy and confusing for you. This is really going to be a time where you should be depending on your intuition, depending on your emotions, because they're going to be your rock through the retrograde. They're going to guide you when your mind is fizzling, right? When your mind is confused or doesn't understand everything completely, that's when really you need to be listening to your intuition. You should always listen to it, but that's when you really need it. So I get the feeling that a lot of you need to listen to your emotions, right? I always say that our emotions are actually little lessons, and each emotion you have is a lesson for you to learn. If you're going to deny your emotion or you're going to stuff it down, you're going to ignore it, then you're basically just not learning that lesson, and that lesson will keep coming back until you do take a look at it. So figure out what the lessons are in your emotions these next 3 weeks and really follow them and trust them. I think that's the most important thing, is to trust your emotions. Trust what your intuition is telling you through your emotions, right? If you feel joy with, let's say, making houses out of popsicle sticks, right? If you find pure joy when you're doing that, your mind a lot of times will say, this is stupid, well, you're wasting your time, this is arts and crafts for kids. But if you feel joy when you're doing it, then you absolutely must follow that. Follow your passion, follow your joy, because your emotions and your intuition are leading you in that direction for a reason. Maybe you're going to join a group of popsicle stick house makers and you're going to meet your soulmate there, right? You're going to meet your next partner, and your mind has no conception of the two things connecting, but your emotions do, right? Your intuition does. It's leading you from a higher perspective. Your mind is working down here. Your intuition is working up here. Right? Sorry. Anyway, let's move on to this card, which represents what to avoid this Mercury retrograde. And we've got us the Knight of Cups. Give me a moment with this card. Huh. That's interesting. Don't get overzealous, though. That's kind of what he's saying to me. Is it's one thing to follow your emotions. It's another thing to lose yourself in your emotions and delve too deep into your emotions. And I think this card is warning us against going too deep in that direction. Let's see. What could be an example? Let's say you're following your emotions and for some reason you feel like eating fast food, junk food, and you're on a diet, right? It's fine to go to Burger King one time. There's no problem. If that's what you're really craving, that's what you really want. But what if you love that Burger King? What if it tastes so good, that Whopper? Oh, and you start to go every day, right? And you start to go 3 times a day, every day. You've gone too far, okay? You're not going to meet your soulmate at Burger King. If you didn't meet them the first time, they're not going to be there the 27th time. So I think that's sort of illustrates what I'm trying to say. That's a stupid example, I know, but that's kind of what I'm trying to say. Don't go too far into it. Don't get wrapped up in your emotions, right? The point of you going to Burger King wasn't for you to get infatuated with Burger King. It was for you to get it out of your system, maybe, or to meet somebody, or to hear something there. It wasn't to get lost in the fast food. Okay? So that's sort of about balancing, walking the line, right? So this retrograde, follow your emotions, but don't let them take control, right? Still be in control. Still use your mind, your ego to temper them. All right, let's move on to this last card, which represents what crystal or healing energy to focus on during this next 3-week period. And if you don't work with crystals, or if you don't have this particular crystal, then don't worry. This is about what healing energy you can focus on. And we've got Rose Quartz, Inner Child. Give me a moment with this card. Bam. Bam. Oh, this to me is about self-love. I'll leave it there. I think that in order to have a balanced life, in order to balance yourself and even yourself out, there has to be an element of self-love there, right? If you don't love yourself unconditionally, then you're going to find faults and you're going to find problems. And when you find problems, that creates imbalance. When you have imbalance, that leads to even more problems. So I think the first step in any of this is self-love. Love for others too, but loving yourself and enjoying yourself and appreciating yourself, not because of your flaws, not in spite of your flaws. I said that wrong. Not in spite of your flaws, but because of your flaws as well. Really appreciating yourself and enjoying your flaws and realizing that your flaws are like a project for you to work on. And that project is self-improvement. And if you can finish that project, you're going to be a better person. And who can say that? Not too many people. So a crystal to help with this retrograde period for you is Rose Quartz. I think it's going to help you bring yourself into balance. I'm seeing that for many of you, this retrograde period is about finding that balance between the world of emotions and the world of logics, right? And but really, I'm getting a huge emotional. Like, we got 2 cups and a Rose Quartz. I mean, this is about emotion for a lot of you, and I think this is about finding that sweet spot of how to deal with your emotions, where you're in control of them and you're learning from them, but you're not being led astray by them. You're not a slave to them. You're not a victim of them, right? So this is not about wallowing in self-pity. This is about taking your negative emotions and learning from them. And I think Rose Quartz is a very easy way to help you to do that. Meditate with Rose Quartz. You're going to feel better. Trust me. Trust me on that. So that is the reading. I hope you got something out of that. And leave a like if you did. And I want to thank you for watching. Have a great Mercury retrograde period. Happy taroting. Peace.